The Iowa Hawkeyes already with 2 players drafted in the first round of the NFL draft on this 27th day of April. We'll talk about Jack Campbell heading to the Detroit Lions in a second. So happy for Jack. We'll talk about why in a second. But first, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, our partner, Ascent Nutrition, and their Lion's Mane Mushroom, folks. I've talked about this product, but if you haven't checked it out, certainly do that. Head over to goascentnutrition.com. And as I've learned more and more about mushrooms, it's interesting because mushrooms are widely known for their many health supportive properties, and Ascent Nutrition's Lion's Mane mushroom is uniquely cultivated from specific strains that feature a rich combination of both mycelium and fruiting bodies. It supports memory, focus, mental clarity, promotes a healthy outlook and mood. Great benefits. You can read all about this product by visiting goascentnutrition.com. And folks, use this code Hawkeyes for 15% off your order. Again, that's the code Hawkeyes for 15% off your order, courtesy of our partner, Ascent Nutrition. We appreciate Lance and his team at Ascent Nutrition, their support of this show, support our sponsors, and Ascent Nutrition's great mushroom products, which recently dropped. So the big news here just before, around 9:30 p.m. this evening, right as I was completing the final edit for the Lucas Van Ness draft video. How about a surprise to a lot of people? Not necessarily to me. I've believed in Jack Campbell for a long time, as has Kirk Ferentz and everybody on that staff. Anybody who's ever met Jack Campbell, I think, believes in Jack Campbell. But boy, I don't think a lot of people expected him to get drafted number 18 overall by the Detroit Lions. In fact, I could be wrong on this. I haven't had time to wind the tape back. I believe he was the first player on this Thursday not to be shown live following his draft selection. I could be wrong on that. My first thought is, given who he is as a person, perhaps he was not interested in having the fanfare. Would not be shocked at all if that's how he approached this, given his personality, not insulting anybody who's enjoying the limelight, being drafted and being able to go on stage or be shown on camera. I get that. But given Jack Campbell's demeanor and his mindset, would not be shocked if that was part of it. The other part of it was, I don't know that he was projected to go very high. And so that's probably what it comes down to. Wow, couldn't be happier for Jack Campbell. Let's not forget, besides the fact that he was named the best linebacker in college football this season, he was named the Nagurski Player of the Year in the Big Ten Conference. He's a big guy. I mean, it was hard. Coming out of high school, he's a 2-3-star recruit. Where does he end up at Iowa? We think back to 2020. Iowa dealt with a lot of change at linebacker heading into that year. Remember, Jamin Colbert was projected as a starter. He decides to opt out. All of a sudden, you thrust Jack Campbell and Seth Benson into the mix. Both guys sounded like they got sick, maybe some COVID issues early in that 2020 season, and Iowa really suffered without them, lost the first 2 games. They come back, they win 6 straight. Not saying it's exclusively because of Benson and Campbell, but you have to put the 2 pieces together and I think see the big picture there and how important those guys were. And Seth Benson, he doesn't have maybe some of the physical tools that Jack Campbell has, but Jack Campbell has an opportunity at 6'5" to be a special type of player. How he's utilized with Detroit is yet to be seen. There have been some comparisons to a Brian Urlacher type of linebacker, but certainly he'll be able to be utilized much differently than a guy like Will Anderson. However, I think Jack Campbell's knack to find the football, I mean, that's got to be the biggest thing when you watch him on tape. And that's what Iowa middle linebackers do. You look at Josie Jewell, what he did when he was at Iowa. He obviously was not a real highly rated recruit coming out of high school, out of Decorah, Iowa. Same goes for Jack Campbell, but those guys have a knack for finding the football. They have good burst, and Jack Campbell's got special size, and he tested out pretty darn well at the combine. I know pass coverage has been a question mark for him, but he's obviously going to be just fine, and Detroit likes their Hawkeyes. Remember, they drafted TJ Hawkinson just a few years ago. Guy we've had on the show, Mari Spivey, was also a Detroit Lion at one time. So we'll see what happens here. This is going to be an interesting storyline to follow, but man, I could not be happier for Jack Campbell, not only because of what he accomplished at Iowa, but let's not forget back in December, the night before the Nashville Music City Bowl, Jack Campbell lost his grandfather in a tragic accident in Nashville. His grandfather was down in Nashville to watch Jack Campbell in person. Tragic accident occurs. His grandfather passes away. Jack Campbell isn't notified until after the game. I understand why the family approached it the way they did. But man, he had to have had a heavy heart this evening, hearing his name called just a few months removed from that tragedy. Could not be happier. Great guy. And look, if you've watched my show, you know I've shared plenty of criticism toward Brian Ferentz, toward Kirk Ferentz, and the disjointed offense and how non-complementary the offense is to the defense. Jack Campbell specifically was asked time and time again about the team's offense, and Jack Campbell did what any great leader does, and he basically told the media, hey, look, we're all in this together. So if we lose as a team. If we win as a team. And I know that's easy to say, but man, as bad as the offense was during the season, the fact that you lose to Illinois 9-6, you literally the defense outscores the offense in beating South Dakota State. The defense outscores the offense against Rutgers. The defense outscores the offense in the Music City Bowl, but never once did Jack Campbell, as the leader and representative, the face of that defense, never once did he give any inclination toward the media of frustration, at least to the outside. And my guess is, given who he is and how much Kirk Ferentz respects him and his Iowa roots, my guess is that he was exactly the same behind closed doors. Congratulations to Jack Campbell. I know Detroit's been an up-and-down franchise, mostly down, but a good way to end last season, knocking off Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. It will be interesting now to see, where does Sam Laporta, where does Riley Moss, where do those two guys end up? We've got two guys off the board, both to the NFC North, one to Green Bay, one to Detroit. So congratulations to both of those guys, and keep it locked in right here as we continue to talk about the Iowa Hawkeyes and the 2023 NFL Draft.